Well, this week marks the end of an era for the Desert Sun. After several decades, the Coachella Valley's newspaper halted printing at its Palm Springs facility. In a cost-saving move by its parent company, the paper is now being printed in Phoenix, Arizona. I spoke today with executive editor Julie Makinen about this change and what's next. Julie, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Peter.
The Desert Sun is no longer being printed in Palm Springs after more than 30 years. What brought about this change?
Well, sadly, I would say the pandemic. I think the pandemic has forced all businesses to sort of reevaluate what they do, how they do it, where they do it. And, we had looked at this issue as recently as the beginning of this year and decided it really made sense to keep printing in Palm Springs. But after coronavirus hit and really changed our budgets, we took a third, fourth, fifth look at it, and the decision was sadly made to consolidate with our printing facility in Phoenix.
And the newspaper also had to let go of several employees. Can you tell us about that?
We did lose about 36 of our colleagues in the press room and the mail room. So employees who are in charge of printing the paper, assembling the paper, and getting it ready for our carriers to pick it up. So that's a tough thing for anyone to go through.
I mean, it is certainly an interesting time for journalism as a whole right now, not just newspapers, television as well. For you, the Desert Sun, your business has had to compete with news consumption now in the digital realm and, of course, this pandemic. So tell us about what that challenge has been like.
Well, in some ways, we have more readers than ever. At the peak Desert Sun circulation in print in the late 80s, early 90s, we might have been around 90,000 copies hitting people's doorsteps each morning, which is a big number. But I also think about, nowadays with online, we have anywhere from 6 to 8 million people coming to, reading stories on our website each month, which is a huge number. And so I think in some ways our reach is broader, and we have Canadian snowbirds who read us 365 days a year from Canada. So things are changing, but I know that many people are still reading us.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of readers would like to know, what does all this change mean for them? Will that they expect anything different with picking up their paper 7 days a week?
So we adjusted our newsroom deadlines only very slightly. We had some cushion in how our deadlines worked previous to this, and we were able to basically keep our operations the same. So on Tuesday morning, the trucks left Phoenix. They arrived here in the Coachella Valley in the middle of the night, and our carriers picked them up and they delivered them, which was a relief to me, and I think to our readers. As far as the newsroom goes, we really have no changes other to our operations. My staff is intact. We haven't laid anyone off related to this, and we're continuing to do what we've been doing all along.
So from your perspective, Julie, is the paper now in a good place, or are you anticipating further changes down the road?
Well, I think anyone who makes any predictions about 2020 or 2021, that's a dangerous game to be in, because this has already been such an unpredictable year. But our parent company is looking to sell the building that we're in, because without the printing press, we feel that we could save money by downsizing to a smaller facility. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to move to a slightly more central location that might afford more opportunities to interact with the public, to invite the public into our space. So that part of it could be a silver lining to all this.
You're certainly right about that. Julie, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Peter.